Warren and others. Christian Fran Hansen is going to talk about business partnering. I will be leading a session on selecting your tool. We'll have an expert come in about implementation, another about building your business case. So it won't just be about demos, but it will be about making that case for a tool and learning how it can help you. So let's go ahead and jump into the file. So first here we have an instruction sheet. This sheet provides details of how each sheet works. I won't go into that, just let you know it's here. You can read that yourself and it will help you understand how to use the workbook. Next we have the vendor comparison. So we can see here at the top, we have a quick snapshot, as I like to call it, which gives us the score, whether someone failed a mandatory requirement, which we'll explain, and then the price or total cost of ownership over the 3 years. And we can see in this example, planning experts is the highest rated, continuous is next, but they failed, then simple, then AI planning, and then planning rocks comes in last. So down here, we can see details about the pricing and the high-level categories, how they scored in each category. So if you wanted to do comparisons between the categories, you can. Here's the category score ranking. So the ranking of all these based on the weightings. So these are all weighted rankings. You can see in this area, planning experts rated the highest in category. It was one of the lowest in cost. And that's what, kind of dragged its score down. You can see it's a 4.22 there, but it's a 4.1 because the pricing brings it down. And then you can see if anyone failed or not, the mandatory requirements. And you can see, as mentioned above, number 4 failed. So what we have here first is I want to walk through the selection criteria workbook, because this is how we set things up. So first, you have your criteria rating. How much is price and how much is based on your different categories that you want to grade the vendor on. So let's just say I wanted to make price maybe 35%. And category 65. If I did that, you'll see their score came down. Now continuous planners goes up. They still win, but because price is a bigger factor, it drags them down. And so you could select that to whatever you wanted. You could make price 80% and category 20%. And then you have each of the categories. You can assign individual weightings to them. So let's say I'm really, really big on workflow, but I don't really think I'll do much in the way of collaboration. So maybe, notice right here I changed it to 20 and 5. That only totals 95, so it tells me it's an error. If I change this to 25%, now it becomes 100, and you'll notice the scores will have slightly adjusted again. And so you could change each of these categories. You could even rename the categories. Let's say instead of vendor detail, I want close consolidation. You'll notice vendor comparison is now closed consolidation. Vendor 1 is now closed consolidation. So it's linked throughout the entire workbook. I'm going to hit Control-Z and just change that back. And then what you're going to see is there's the individual pieces that make up each of these. So supports custom data model, business reporting metrics supported. Can build custom metrics. Whatever's important to you, you can add them. You can provide the weightings there. You could change the weighting. Let's say I change that to 45%. And let's go ahead and select the drop down for that and change it to 45%. It gives me an error because I'm 25% over. I could make something mandatory or not. So I could say no, yes, whatever. So say since that's 45, I'll change this to 15. And you can notice sometimes it doesn't like you typing. You should do it from the drop down. So we change that to 15. I'm still over. So maybe I'll change this one to 10%. And then it tells me I'm okay, right? If any of these are wrong, so let's change this one to 25%. It will show, hey, we're at 1,000% for the total of all the individual categories, and that's an error. You're over. So we'll give you an error both for the individual and the total to let you know if you're wrong. Here in this category, you say is something mandatory. Like if they don't have it, like if they don't have the ability to support this custom data model you want that's so important to you, then if they fail that, they fail and they're disqualified. It's up to you to select each of these. If you add a new category, you can come in and change it to yes, no. So here's where you go ahead and fill out what's important to you. And I've gone ahead and populated it with some of the things that could be important to help give you a start. Next, I've put together a list of questions. 10 questions for things to do before you start the RFP process. 12 questions to ask vendors during the process. And then some things to do internally. I've listed 8 things to think about internally. So it gives you a total of 30 items, as well as I've written an article on my website about these 10 items and how to think about them. So next you have the individual vendors, which are the exact same as the vendor template. So on the individual vendor sheet, you're going to have the vendor name, right? Contact phone, the pricing. Here you can put in general notes. Here's some general information. Hey, do I want customer reference? Do I want to integrate with my specific software? You can put your notes here. Transparency in the pricing model. You know, whatever it might be that you want to put some notes about. Then over here you can have general notes. And then let's go ahead and collapse that so you can see a little better. And here you have the score. So you give each vendor a rating that you think applies. So let's say I change this to a 1 for vendor 1. Now its score goes down to 2.15. And then you have anything that's mandatory, you need to say pass or fail. If you don't, again, it's going to give you a red. All this right here is linked to the category sheet. You can see it here in the formula. So the ones you'll change is basically column E and over, just a category score and whether they passed or not. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to fail. If we come back to vendor comparison, we now see these two vendors failed. Vendors, vendor 1, AI planning has failed, as has continuous planning. And so you can come through and rate everything as you see fit between a 1 and a 5. Like I mentioned, 5 is the best. You do that for all 5 vendors and you're done. But let's say you need to make a change. If for some reason you want to make a change to the template, maybe you need to add a couple extra things you want to track, maybe you want to change a question, you can change it here and then update each worksheet to be the same as the vendor on those individual vendor sheets, and it will update the rest of the workbook. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Last thing I want to do before I close here is just show you where you can find the template. So if you go to the FP&Aguy.com, you can go to my blog, you can go to FP&A Tools, and you're going to see FP&A Selection Strategy. That there is going to have the template. So you're going to read more about that. 10 things to do before starting the FP&A tool selection process. You can read that. And then here is just a little bit about the tools marketplace where you can see the landscape. And so I hope you'll take a moment and check those out. But let's go into the selection strategy and see what's there. So you can register for the 3rd day event. You can see a short video. You'll also have the long form video about this template. You'll be able to see, get a copy of the selection template. So you can download the template right here. And then you can see a list of things to do to help prepare you. So, here's the list of things to do beforehand. Here's an article about the 4 pillars, about the 10 things to do before starting the process, the market landscape, and then here's the event schedule with links to each of the speakers and the software for the event. So I encourage you to check it out. It has the timing of each of the different events, and feel free to leave a comment down at the bottom. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I really look forward to seeing you at the 3rd generation FP&A Tools Demo Day, because I know none of you want to sit through 5 or 10 sales demos to get started. Come, be in an environment where you can learn about the tool, narrow them down, and then go talk to the vendors. Thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts about this video. Bye.